Hey there. I'm FN. Welcome to my dusty little corner of the internet. I'm pleased to present to you another Sovereign Citizen video today. The original video comes to us by way of Cleveland area body cam. This is yet another misinformed citizen who doesn't think he needs a driver's license or license plates because he's operating his personal property to exercise his right to travel.
That's right, FN. This guy is another jackwagon who thinks that the side of the road is the time and place to argue case law. I guess he's never seen an episode of Law and Order.
Jane, I agree. The time to argue those kinds of things is in a court of law, not on the side of the road. It doesn't matter. His arguments are irrelevant and factually incorrect. But it's not the officer's job to know case law. The officers know the statutes and codes that they enforce, and they are only there to do their job. But rather than give away everything, why don't we roll the video and reserve our comments until the appropriate places?
Hey, Officer Valone, Bayville Police. Where you coming from, buddy? Can't see your license plate or anything.
First off, we see that the officer has probable cause for a traffic stop. In Ohio, a valid license plate is required to operate a motor vehicle on the public roads of the state. There is probable cause that an infraction has been committed, and now the officer has just cause to investigate further.
Oh, is that where you live? Okay. Do you have your driver's license, sir?
My driver's license is important, though.
It's not important?
No.
Can I see your hands?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Why is it not important?
Because
You put it in park.
Yeah, it's in park.
All right. What's up?
Because I'm using my personal property on personal transportation. If you would like me to pull up the case numbers on my phone.
No, I'd like you to get your driver's license like I asked you, and I'm not going to ask you again.
First, I hope that you caught that he let it slip that he was driving. He then backtracked and said he was just using his private property. Next, as I've already stated, the side of the road is not the time nor place to argue Supreme Court decisions. The law requires that the operator of a motor vehicle provide the officer with his license when requested to do so. Failure to do so is an additional offense for which a person may be arrested until their identity can be verified. The proper thing to do in such a situation is to provide the officer with the necessary documents. But alas, sovereign citizens don't believe that they need such things. They are sadly mistaken.
Get your driver's license out.
Sir, if you would like, call your supervisor because this is the Supreme Court rulings.
Okay.
With case numbers involved.
That's unnecessary.
That is 100% necessary.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because the Supreme Court ruled that I am allowed and deemed to use my personal property, which is this vehicle.
Where's the license plate on the vehicle?
I don't need it because I am using personal property.
Hand me the driver's license.
What does it matter?
Hand me the driver's license.
I'm not handing it to you. You can call your supervisor.
I'm not calling my supervisor.
Then you can call them.
Okay, come here.
Can you hear the indignation in this guy's voice? He honestly believes that the Supreme Court has said that you can drive your personal vehicle without having a license, proof of insurance, or even a license plate. The Supreme Court has said no such thing. FN, you used to be a lawyer. Why don't you tell our audience what they have really said?
It would be my pleasure, Jane. First, everyone should understand that the 10th Amendment states, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. This means that the authority to regulate the operation of motor vehicles on the public roads and highways of the state are reserved to the state. The Supreme Court's ruling, deciding that the states have the authority to regulate motor vehicles, goes back as far as the first cars do. The court ruled in 1915, in the case of Hendrick versus Maryland, that the movement of motor vehicles over highways, being attended by constant and serious dangers to the public, is properly subject to police regulation, by the states. It went on to state that, a state may regulate its public highways, and may impose reasonable regulations, for securing the safety of the travelers, using those highways. The state may prescribe uniform regulations it deems necessary, for the safety, and orderly operation with respect to motor vehicles, and their drivers. It said that, it is an acceptable exercise of a state's police powers, to require licensing of their drivers, and registering of vehicles, and to charge a reasonable fee to implement these requirements. Additionally, it explained, there is no solid foundation for the claim that state-imposed driver's license and vehicle registration requirements directly interfere with the constitutionally recognized right to travel. That all dates back to 1915. Hendrick v. Maryland has been cited in over 375 cases up to and through today. It remains good law.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car, I'm going to make you get out of the car. Stop reaching for stuff.
I'm not reaching for stuff. I went to unbuckle. Is your video?
Get out of the car.
Hold on. Video record right now. Pull your phone out.
Get out of the car.
Get
out of the car.
I'm a little torn here, FN. Obviously, the officers have the right to require that the driver exit the vehicle. But is he reaching, or was it just a reflexive move to reach and unbuckle the seatbelt?
I hear what you're saying. It probably was just a natural reflex to reach and unbuckle himself. But the officers don't know what he could be reaching for. Does he have a gun down by his side? In reviewing such things, the court is probably going to decide in favor of the officers, because they are responsible for not only their own safety, but also with the safety of the general public, in and around the area of the stop.
But what about letting the man have the chance to exit the vehicle on his own? Doesn't he deserve that opportunity?
I'd like to agree with you. And you did hear them telling the driver, several times, to exit the vehicle. Ultimately, the officers, and the public safety, are the primary responsibility of the police. If the occupant of the vehicle is making rapid and furtive movements, they may use sufficient force to prevent the occupant from obtaining a weapon or destroying potential evidence.
Oh, shoulder, you just dislocated it! You mother...
I feel that it's important to note here that the police initially used a reasonable amount of force to extricate the driver from the vehicle. It was the driver who escalated this situation by not being compliant.
But I always feel badly for the person who is forced down onto a wet and visibly cold piece of hard roadway. I mean, come on. You have to feel bad for the guy.
I agree with you a little bit, Jane. It is probably an unpleasant experience for him. But he is clearly the instigator in this situation, by resisting and not being compliant. This entire episode could have been avoided by simply presenting his driver's license at the beginning of the stop. No one, and I do mean no one, has ever prevailed on the merits, in a court of law, by arguing that they are not required to be licensed to drive on the highway, because it infringes upon their right to travel. It flatly has never happened, and it never will. The whole reason I started making these videos was to clear away those other nonsensical videos that claim that the right to travel can't be restricted and regulated. It most certainly can.
Ah! You have no reason and right. You want to lose your fucking... Stop. You seriously dislocated my shoulder. Take me to the driver, but we're good. Video record! Right now!
I got you here.
You just dislocated my shoulder, dude.
I told you I wasn't going to ask you again.
You have no right.
Let me take this one, if you don't mind. My sympathies do tend to go towards the citizen in these types of situations. However, every citizen knows, or should know, that when you're stopped for a traffic infraction, that you must provide your driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance. And that the officers have every right to ask you to step out of your vehicle during the stop. Fighting or resisting the police is never a good idea.
I'm not being this.
Okay,
dude,
listen.
I gotta get out. Ow. Stop.
Here,
Stop.
roll
You
over.
got my shoulder dislocated.
Here, let me
You
help
have
you.
my shoulder dislocated. My paperwork is in the fucking car.
He should have been out of the car and handed me his
Yeah,
driver's
you got feel it.
Nope.
It's just dislocated.
I don't wanna hurt you. I don't wanna hurt
It's
you.
just dislocated. You
listen.
mother just dislocated my shoulder.
You need to relax.
You just dislocated my shoulder.
Do you need a squad?
I am always a stickler for the police obeying their own procedures, and it seems that they have here. They immediately rolled the driver over and allowed him to sit up. And when he complained of an injury, they inquired about his need for an ambulance. Which is what they meant when they asked if he needed a squad.
Yeah!
Okay.
You asshole, you just dislocated my
Let's get
shoulder.
him out of the road.
With no right. You want to lose your police license? You're about to. You're about to. Get your squadron leader out here like I asked.
Let's get a supervisor.
Get your video recorder on right now.
We're gonna help you get up. Put your feet right in front of mine so we can help you get up.
You only use my left.
I will. Listen, put both feet here so you can use it as a...
Don't touch my
I got
right.
you.
Don't touch
I'm
my
gonna
right.
help you get up. You ready?
Fucking hurts.
Ready?
No, grab underneath my shoe. Oh, please
here?
grab underneath the arm. Push. There you go.
Ready?
Ow. Ah.
Got a squad coming. Follow me back here.
You should have been reaching in the car.
Wow. That's some serious Oscar-level acting right there. I have to agree with the officer on this one. The driver should not have been reaching into the truck. Were I in that position, well, I would have given up my driver's license in the first place. Thus, I would never be in that position. But for argument's sake, let's say that they had requested that I step out of the vehicle. I would clearly state that I need to unbuckle my seatbelt, so I'm going to reach down and unclasp it. I wouldn't make any hand movements, without stating what I am going to do, before I do it. My safety and the officer's safety depend on clear discussions, before I make any rapid movements.
At least they assisted him in getting to his feet. They also said that they would request an ambulance respond to the scene for him. I liked how the policeman used his own foot as something to push against, and that they lifted him up to his feet as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that was consistent with sound police practices. But just think, this all could have been avoided.
I don't know what you have in there.
God
You should have
damn
got out
it,
when I
you
told you to get out. Let's go.
Fucking, I was getting
Oh,
out.
no, you weren't.
ripped me out, and I had her getting on video camera.
You weren't getting
You
out.
asshole.
Okay.
You
Hey, listen. Don't raise your voice anymore.
He's
Listen,
good.
you're in cuffs.
I'm in a lot of pain.
I understand. We're
Ow,
gonna get you a squad.
don't rip on the right arm. Do you feel it? You see that? You feel that? Yeah, it's dislocated.
Search him. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
If that's what you
You
want.
feel that?
Okay, there's a squad coming. What's his deal? Is he suspended or what?
He was reaching to unbuckle.
Okay, I don't know what he was doing. And then he didn't want to get out of the car, so I had to pull him out of the car. Okay?
No, yeah.
He was telling me all kind of stuff,
But
talking about he doesn't have to show me his driver's license. His
I know
license
it
plates
is.
is irrelevant. Okay? That's not what you do. And you're not going to be reaching in the car. You're not going to be
But he
reaching.
was unbuckling. You
Okay.
told him to get out. He was unbuckling when you told him to get out.
Then I
and you
told him
put
to get out, and he wouldn't get out.
No, he was
Okay.
unbuckling.
Hey, that's all right. I'm not going to argue with you, okay?
I saw that.
Okay, that's fine. That's
when,
fine.
When
You have
he
your
was
driver.
unbuckling. When he was unbuckling, you pulled him out.
He was unbuckling.
He was.
And then he wouldn't get out of the car.
And you said, no, I
The right to travel is a fundamental right enjoyed by all free citizens under the Constitution. However, the right to travel must not be confused with a right to drive. There is no right to drive. Driving is a privilege, and the Supreme Court has ruled that the states have the exclusive authority to regulate such use. Requiring a person have a valid driver's license on their person while they are driving a car is within their purview.
That's right, Jane. This video highlighted not only how wrong people who follow these misguided beliefs are, but also how much arguing with the officers on the street is not going to work. It also demonstrates how many of these kinds of police interactions can be avoided by simply obeying the lawful commands of the police. This could have ended with the driver being cited for failure to register the vehicle and failure to carry his operator's license. The vehicle would have been towed, and the people allowed to find an alternative way home. But at least they'd actually be going home. Now it has resulted in an arrest and a possible injury to the driver.
We hope that you've enjoyed this video and possibly learned something along the way. If you did, we hope that you will click the like button and consider subscribing to our little channel. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm.
And as always, thank you for watching.